so. Yep.
Something wrong.
Yeah.
Auto drive now enabled.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Upload. We're talking about the Optic and how it's changed our lives. Now, as you remember, Bloom announced a new version of the Optic at the recent Tone conference, but we haven't heard too much about that since due to the dramatic events there. Let's cast our minds back and consider the technology. I mean, the Optic changed everything. It lets you see things in AR. You just have the small implant that sends signals to your optic nerve and lets you see your emails, take calls, and browse the internet directly as if the screen was in front of your eyes. Instead of having to carry, I've just got this small handheld unit. So much lighter and so much more convenient. It's great.
Vicky, you sound like you absolutely love the Optic. Do you actually think that it's made our lives any better?
I mean, sure, it's definitely made things a lot easier. It's so simple to call someone now. All you have to do is choose who you want to chat to and they're there, ready to talk. And browsing the web is so much easier. I remember when you used to have to sit down at a computer with an actual keyboard and mouse and type everything out. And my favourite feature is public transport. With the Optic, you can just walk straight onto the tube. It even acts as a passport. No longer do I have to dig around and try and find my old paper passport just to travel somewhere. Also, I thought the Optic's marketing strategy, making it free for people, was a stroke of genius.
Genius. Bloom was really calculated when it was doing that. It was pushing this draconian device on us at all. Sure, everybody flocked to it. There was free Wi-Fi and phone plans. That definitely helped, but it wasn't a case of this is a product that you need in your life.
Why do you hate it so much?
It's just the worst because you had to give up your privacy expectations and accept surveillance. It was almost like the government and Bloom didn't even need to make the Optic mandatory. Making it mandatory was only to get the last holdouts across the line. If free data didn't convince you, fines and arrests from the state for not having the Optic would pretty much be enough.
I mean, what do you mean by privacy problems? No one really talks about that anymore.
They don't talk about it because we don't have any choice when it comes to the Optic. Yes, it's convenient and mandatory, but everybody's forgotten what it really means. Here, you've got a whole company owning basically all the data about your life. Bloom can see everything that you can see. Nothing is private anymore. There are so many times when I don't want anyone to have a clue about where I am, who I'm chatting with, what I'm doing. It's not even dodgy stuff, but I just don't want anybody to blackmail me with this in the future by hacking it. And because of Bloom's contracts with the government, it isn't just Bloom that can see everything I do, it's the government. The UK as a state has become a complete surveillance paradise.
I think you're painting a bit of a bleak picture. It's not all that bad.
No, you're completely wrong on this. I don't want everybody tracking me wherever I'm going around London.
Well, in that case, you might be interested in some rumours I heard. Did you hear that some DedSec hackers have found a way to bypass the Optic's connection with Bloom?
Are they actually making it better or usable or actually friendly for anybody?
Well, word on the street is that they've been able to create an encrypted signal, which means that your world might have a chance of becoming a bit more private again, so you could go back and enjoy all the great things about Optic without that fear of surveillance.
With the Optic, privacy's dead.
The first summer without Arctic ice cover. Not long ago, the best predictions placed it a quarter century off. Today, we are facing the possibility it will be this calendar year. Tonight, GBB will be looking into what this means for the planet.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches.
Hello Britain, this is The Bug, the show that holds up a mirror to the world and smashes itself on the head with it in despair. I'm Andy, joining me, as always, Alice, and...
I deny everything.
Auto drive now disabled.
Some good news at last. There are no medicine shortages, according to the government, none at all. There have been various allegations about that. It turns out they are all fake news, trademark. There are none. There are no shortages of medicine. Don't take it from me. I'm not a medical supply expert. Take it from our beloved government. It's fine. In fact, I'm going to read between the lines.
Find them! Drone, area search. Clear! Damn it! They're gone!
Don't follow me.
Citizens, if you see something, say something. We are here to protect you. Ha!
You're lucky I stopped it knocking you out. wherever you are. Moving on, there's nothing here. Fucker could be anywhere. Not seeing anything here. Weapons ready. Moving elsewhere.
Investigating disturbance.
Oh.
Auto drive now enabled.
There's too much medicine, if anything. Just medicine. He can't move for medicine. In fact, just this morning, I tried to pour some cornflakes into a bowl for breakfast and out-tumbled a 12-month course of immunosuppressants, corticosteroids, and anti-retrofungal neurodilatory estrogen spermatotropic fruit pastilles.
The people claiming there are medical shortages are probably high on lots of medicine that they've been given. I, for one, believe that there are no medical shortages, Andy. Just last week, I went in with a broken arm and they suggested it might just be extreme period pain and prescribed me a drink of water and an astrology chart.
We can't be too far away from them just prescribing stiff upper lip like this.
My uncle had a leg removed due to diabetes. They halved his insulin because they said there was less of him to be diabetic.
So, anyway, people, don't believe what you read or hear about there not being enough medical drugs to go around. It's not true. It's hospital hogwash, it's pharmaceutical flim-flam, it's medical mendacity, it's Hippocratic humbug, it's nonsensical narcotic nincompoop. I think I've made the point. Do not believe the news telling you that we've run out of medicine, nor should you believe the empty shelves at the chemists. They're also lying. Do not believe your doctor saying, sorry, we're fresh out of that, you're going to have to eat a carrot and pretend. And do not believe your own cobweb-ridden medicine cabinet at home. It might look empty, but it's not, for it contains the only medicine any of us truly need. Stirring music, please, producer Chris. Freedom. The medicine of British freedom. Be Bloomer keeping an eye on things for you.
I'm investing heavily in the placebo effect right now. You're listening to The Bug.
Obviously, I don't entirely mean that, because what is the first rule of the third millennium? If someone in power tells
You
you
have
something is
reached
fake
your
news, what is it?
destination.
Correct. A 110% cast iron, tungsten-coated, granite-scented, cosmically immutable, scientifically unarguable fact. But surely, Alice, the more important question for all these medicine freaks whinging on about feeling a bit poorly or having a fatal but curable illness and slowly dying unnecessarily is this. Do we actually need medicine?
If you today got diagnosed with a potentially fatal illness, would you not look around?
Well, this will make you consider my mind blown. Brilliant.
Auto drive now enabled.
It's hard to believe that there could be shortages of food and medicine in an advanced country like ours, and yet here we are. Those old government promises of adequate food turned out to be just another lie. Today we're short of basic foodstuffs and vital medical supplies. Hundreds have already died of conditions that could be easily cured. The black market means that criminal gangs like Clan Kelly run our cities, and Prime Minister Dev Hassani isn't even around to protect. How do we go from a consumer paradise to a place of empty shelves, fighting for supplies? What turns a land of plenty into a wild west of hoarding, food battles and black market barons? We protect everyone who comes on the podcast by keeping their identities a secret. Here's veteran political reporter Ian on the power behind shortages.
Look, I mean, what was the first thing that happened when Britain sealed itself off? Like, the first stuff that got stopped from coming in was fresh food. I mean, we could live without fresh food. I mean, everyone's quality of life got instantly worse, but we could live without it.
Auto drive now disabled.
Was when the radioactive isotopes stopped coming. Now, radioactive isotopes, that's what we use for cancer screening, cancer.
Now that stuff, it has
I thought that was easy before. Very nice, Dead Set.
Used to say.
hundreds of thousands of lives just by screening for cancer, let alone testing for cancer. But that stuff has a half-life of 66 hours. As soon as those walls...
This is the right location.
That's when people started dying. And then the medicines. The thing is, there's loads of medicines that you just can't stockpile. There was a moment before it took place when actually there were some efforts to try and stockpile some of the medicines. There was some things that could be done. For a lot of it, there was simply nothing that could be done. We had a major problem with drugs for schizophrenia. So we saw such an uptick in the kind of attacks that you saw in the street and people suffering on their own because they didn't have the mental health drugs, because those drugs simply couldn't be stockpiled. We eventually found the same thing with foods that weren't produced in the UK. And the trouble with the UK was,
we don't produce our own food. We never have. 100 years, we produce under half of our own food.
Shut this off!
Albion will protect at all costs. Assemblies of over 5 units will be dispatched.
Located the CTOS hub. Done.
Powers up. Bloody fantastic.
Did we actually move polar bears anyway? What can they really do? If I put oxygen on myself, can I train it to take itself for a walk and do my shopping on the
Way home. And is tennis real? But first,
Auto drive now
it's a
enabled.
question that no one's really addressed of late. London is going to be safer than ever, Alice. SIRS is installing thousands of additional CCTV cameras. So nice they're still looking out for us after all these years.
Yeah, it puts a lot of fun into my life now. I get to play this role-play game where I pretend to know my loved ones better than some twat behind a screen in the SIRS headquarters.
I mean, I guess we shouldn't complain. I mean, SIRS really just stepping into the vacancy left when it became patently obvious that God had retired. You think of that. The similarities: omnipresent, omniscient, judgmental, stripping away your finances and freedoms, dishing out random punishments, peas in a pod. All it needs to do, sir, is ban me from eating something. What's it going to be this time? Not bacon again, please. Please, not bacon. Courgettes. Ban courgette. I can take you banning courgettes. I'm happy with that.
Makes me feel important knowing that I'm being watched with everything I do, Andy.
Well, it's just not... It's reassuring, isn't it? It's like having an extra aunt.
This is the aunt that gets drunk at Christmas and vomits in the kiddie pool, right?
Get that on. This is the bug on the Buccaneer. Let's move on now to sport. Well, the closest thing we have to sport now, riots. I mean, riots are my favourite sport now, Alice, ever since they turned the Oval from a cricket ground into the immigration processing centre. And, yeah, rioting it's a great sport. It's fun for all the family. It's guaranteed action. It's pleasingly violent. I mean, I know the underdogs never win, but, I mean, that's like top-level football have become, but it's still fun to root for them, isn't it? Go team, people of Britain. Oh, never mind, you've been crushed by the machinery of the state again. Still, good effort, lots of positives to take away from today's riot.
Auto drive now disabled.
Next time, our luck's going to turn, I can feel it. It's our season. It's our season.
You can't spell riot without right, and by right I mean right wing.
So, who do we turn to for help, support and assistance in desperate times like these? Well, our artificially intelligent friend Bagley's rogue, estranged brother. The one that tells it as it really is, not as it is pretending to be.
Exclusive to the show, Bagley. And remember, nice work with Bagley. Here goes. Bagley.
A guy I know told another guy that you're looking for DedSec.
Wasn't sure you'd come, knowing I'm part of the establishment. Or at least I was, until Albion dismissed Parliament. I do want to say, what you've done in Westminster is remarkable. You've given the people hope.
Yeah. Cheers for putting Albion in charge. Real smart move. But now we're doing whatever we can to clean your bloody mess. Albion are out of control.
I couldn't agree more. That's why I contacted you. Albion haven't simply shut down the government. They've sullied the Palace of Westminster, the Great Bell, with their propaganda. Do you understand what that looks like? If you really want to rekindle some of the people's fighting spirit, then restoring the clock tower would go a long way.
Sure, why not? Could symbolise that the people are getting their political power back, right?
I knew I could count on you. It would be wonderful to hear the bell once more.
Affordable housing.
I don't trust AI!
No food, no jobs, no home. Family values, not property values. Homes need people. People need homes.
Not a lot. Other than
AI
that she's
should help
absolutely
humanity,
pretty
not
incredible.
condemn
I followed her work for a long time.
And she's always been a pretty private person. I know that she supposedly grew up in the countryside, but...
There is some security around the bell tower, but that shouldn't pose a problem. A bigger issue will be getting to the top.
What do I do?
Obsessed with this idea of transhumanism.
Why wouldn't you be? When you've got a mind as amazing as Sky's, why wouldn't you want to take what you've got and actually augment it by working with technology, by improving your physical self, changing your body and the world around you, implementing more technology to extend your life and really sort of extend human capabilities?
You sound pretty much in love with Sky Larson, I have to say.
I can't comment on that, but I am a big fan of her work. She's been one of these people that has transformed the world around us, and just watching her mind work from afar is pretty incredible. Some of what
They need to do something. It's a crime.
path up to the top of the tower is treacherous. All crawl spaces and gantries. More suited to 6 mechanical legs than 2 human ones.
Sounds fucking fun.
should do it.
That was moving, truly. To hear the chimes again, to see that tower the way it's meant to be seen, means everything to the people of this borough.
I get it. Everybody needs symbols, and the clock tower, well, that's London's brand. Kind of represents our culture.
It represents our parliamentary democracy. To have Albion deface it the way they did, it's clear what they were up to. Thank you, DedSec.
Brilliantly done. Westminster will surely rise up against Albion after this.
Thanks. Welcome to DedSec. Bigger, stronger, badder than ever.
Fuck yeah. Let's cause a fuss, shall we?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, and also can't privatise human rights.
Excuse me.
Please take power grid the whole city. Can you imagine? Don't. Our safety. I don't understand. Helping me out. We don't want a police state. London's a war zone. You can't privatise human rights. Don't outsource our safety. No mercenaries on our streets.
This is London Calling. You're here with me, Tash, and Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want to be. In today's world, we've all had to get used to our every move being tracked by the optic on our temples, by the cameras around us, and with every click we make online. Seems like everything we do is the big data speak. Why are they scared of being so
I guess. What I mean.
Want to take me for a ride?
It's cute to get one out of it.
How many ways can I resemble a donkey?
features. Quite impressive.
Machines that use items and technological objects, gradually people research.
The affordances of these technologies, that privacy kind of retreated into the background and into a state we've got now where it's essentially gone. Having this access to this data makes huge tech companies like Bloom so much more powerful than they would be otherwise, and not just in the obvious ways. Of course, there's a lot of worry and fear over what they can do with the data. They can track anyone, find anyone, see what every individual is doing at any point in time. But I think there's even deeper reasons why this data empowers these huge companies to control our society and make us do things. So lots of predictive technologies which are implemented. By these tech giants, it's not only interested in knowing what we're going to do, but influencing the patterns of our movement. So technologies will suggest routes to use in the city, places to go, restaurants to go to, cafes to go to, music to listen.